Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. It is a hot one today. I'm actually working second shift, basically. I had a bunch of other stuff to do this morning, did some computer work during the heat of the day, and I came out here about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and got a bunch of work done. I'm using Schedule 40 4-inch. I came down from the Downspout. I've got a 90 at the bottom. I know a lot of people will say a 90 is not a good idea. Same thing I did at my house 30 years ago, never had a problem. Plus, I've got the gutter guards or whatever on top. I'm not going to get anything big into the downspouts, so that'll be fine. So I went 90, came out on an angle, then a 45, and then ran that all the way down here. Used a little bit of 2A limestone just to protect the pipe a little bit. I like putting that in there, then you can just kind of bale the material to it. But I got two lines here. I picked up this other one right here. So I got a 4-inch line right there and a 4-inch line right there. Now somewhere they're gonna come together into a 6-inch, probably right on the other side of the excavator. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. But the cistern tank is going to go right in the other side of where that topsoil pile is. Right in there somewhere. I may just run these two 4-inch into it. And then I need to do the same thing on the other side of the barn. Bring them around, dump them into the cistern tank. I'm going to get as big a one as possible. Maybe another 4,000 gallon one like I have over at the rec center. We'll have to figure that out. But tomorrow, it's not going to rain for a couple days, so I need to get that topsoil pile moved and then at least daylight these out, and I'll get a little something for my stormwater tax that I pay every year, because that water will just run down over the hill. I mean, what's fair is fair. I want to get this last side finished with the board and batten, but I decided with the dry weather, it's the best time to get all this pipe in the ground. I needed to get that done, because when it rains, I'm telling you, that roof makes a lot of water. Now I got some fall coming this way, but from about halfway up, it's just flat over there. And all that water comes down the downspouts. I had them kicked out a little bit, but you get a bunch of rain, it just stays wet. So glad to get this side done. Hopefully tomorrow, get the other side done. I started working out of that big pile of shale right there. I need to fill this in just a little bit. And then down there where the excavator is, like where the track of the excavator is, it gets filled up a little bit, you know, and I have a nice road, nice gentle turn that turns, you know, goes around the barn on this side here. But I need probably at least 6 inches of fill on this side before I even bring it up with stone from there. So I probably need close to 10 inches in there. But the barn is looking good. A lot of work, but it's coming along. You do a little bit each day. Some days you do a lot, but if you just do a little bit each day, everything will work out in the end. All right, it is first thing in the morning. It's gonna be another scorcher today. I think it's gonna get up to about 96. Doing a little pool maintenance here. Got the robot. Look how that thing climbs the wall. That's crazy. Adding a little bit of water. Just did a water test. So far, the pool care has not been a big deal at all. But anyway, before I head out to the barn, I got a bunch of other stuff I got to take care of first. And then hopefully I'll be sitting in an air-conditioned cab digging while it's real hot. Then this evening, put the rest of the pipe in. That's the plan. My mom's grass cut. Gonna head out to the barn here. I think first up, I need to get on the skid loader, do a little bit of work with that, and then we're going to take Reddington to the stone yard and get some more 2A limestone for bedding around the pipe. That's the plan. Always subject to change though. All right, as you already know, I got the downspouts on that side of the barn down past the end, so I'm good there for now. Next up on this side, I'm gonna hop on the skid loader, skin a little of this off of here, because this is gonna get brought back up with some good shale after the pipe is installed, so I'm gonna get started on that. First, I better move the old girl out of the way here. Best purchase ever, right here, no joke. right, making some progress here. That's a quality looking ditch though. I hit some sand rock in here. It's right there, I'm right on it. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get through it. Thought we were gonna get back to the old blasting days there for a little bit. Man, it's right on it, right where I'm at. I think I can slide right over top of it, just have to scratch it a little bit. What's nice is I just kind of keep this ditch the same depth best I can. This is an easy section here. Can you hear that? Because the ground is falling off. I have fall, you know, behind me. So all you got to do, keep it about the same depth. Man, that is right on that stuff. I'm pretty decent at like carrying a grade. Where I get messed up is if I was going deeper, or if the grade was going up behind me. If that was the case, I struggle a little bit. You gotta get a laser out and check it once in a while. I've just been using the level on the pipe. Man, just stand the machine up on that stuff. I've been hitting her pretty hard all morning, so just a little bit ago, I didn't get in the pool, but I went over, filled up my water bottle, just sat in the AC for a few minutes to kind of chill down a bit. But they're not calling for any rain today, tomorrow, or the next day. Then after that, it's like 100% chance. But I'll have this done. Man, I'm going to be doing some scratching. Be glad to get this done. This is one of the first things that I should have done once the barn was built, but the weather was never that great. It just makes it so much easier to be able to get all around the barn with the boom lift. That stuff right there. Dang. A little bit here. I'm going to have to put some pipe in. See if I'm deep enough right there. That is really bizarre to me. I thought I knew where all the rock was on the property. And I don't know of anywhere where it's this close to the surface. That's not shale, that is sand rock. All right, I'll tell you what, I'm hot. I am really hot. Moving a little bit slow now, but I got this line around all the way down to here. Got that all backfilled all the way down. What I need to do next, tomorrow morning, take that one, bring it down, and then I'm going to connect it somewhere right in here and go to a 6-inch right in here. I got to look and I'm thinking, how did I end up so deep? You know? But I think it's right. All right, so let's do some math here. I probably should have done this before. But about 80 feet of pipe. I started about 2.5 feet deep. Okay? So 80 feet times 1/4 inch per fall. 80 times 0.25. 20 inches of fall. So almost another 2 feet. So I should be 4.5 feet deeper from there down to here. Which, looking at it right there, I'm about 3.5 or 4 feet deep. But the ground drops off from up there to here probably a foot. I may be a little bit deep. Not much though. Really not much at all. But I'm going to have to go a ways to get this daylighted out. I don't know, it starts to roll off pretty good right here. I was thinking of putting a cistern tank right over here, but I think it's going to have to go down in there somewhere. Because I got this one. Those two won't be a problem over there. I got those two right over there. They'll come down. Whatever. I'm out of the woods right now, though. Even if it would rain, which it's not supposed to, I'm in good shape. Even with this one not being tied in, it's going to run this way. But I'll get that done tomorrow. But anyway, I'll report back tomorrow morning. All right, it is first thing in the morning. No work on the barn here, at least till later on today. I got some running around to do. I don't know if you can tell, it is super hazy and you can smell the smoke. This is from the Canadian wildfires. It's crazy that it travels this far. I don't know how big the fires are up there, but first thing when I got up this morning, I could smell smoke, you know, and it just looks real overcast. But it's smoke, is what you're seeing. I gotta go. What do I have to do? I have to go pick up the starter for the firewood processor. I need to go pick up a prescription for Piper, the dog. And I need to go to the courthouse, which will be an experience. I have to get my carry permit renewed. So hopefully this won't take too long. Quick wash on the Maverick. Got my starter picked up, dog prescriptions. All right, I am entering the city of Butler. I don't come up here very often, but this is where the courthouse is. But this smoke is unbelievable. It's getting worse throughout the day. It smells like smoke, I guess you could say, wood smoke. All right, got my carry permit renewed, all set. So this morning it's a little bit cooler. It's kind of nice out. Yesterday, that was something else. I mean, we had extreme heat warnings. We had air quality advisories. I think they even threw in a couple amber alerts. But very hazy, very smoky, very hot. But today it is cooler, still very hazy, smoky. You can smell it. And I honestly don't know, like, is it really that bad? I know it's not good, but I've probably been out west about a dozen times over the years, and probably 20% of the time I was out there, it was just like this, you know, from all the wildfires and stuff. I don't know. But man, people were losing their minds here about the smoke. They're supposed to have, well, they still had it, horse trading days down in the town of Zelienople. That is, it's always a nice event. You know, they have a bunch of vendors and they have a parade and stuff. Well, they canceled the parade because of the smoke and the heat, I guess. And then you read those Facebook groups. Oh my goodness. People started posting yesterday morning about their concern for the horses if they were going to have the parade. And then someone would reply, I'm more concerned about the elderly and the children. And then someone else would reply, it's just a little bit of smoke. And then they'd all start fighting all day. Like, don't people have anything better to do? Those community pages, though, they are a train wreck. And a couple of them, they let people post anonymously. So, and they ask every question. And it would be the last place I would go to ask a question about pretty much anything is Facebook. And for a lot of people, that is their go-to. That's the first thing. Doesn't matter what it is. Go to Facebook and ask the question. Then everybody starts arguing and fighting. But anyway, what I got going on here, I ran 2 4-inch lines down, and then I tied them into 1 6-inch line. If memory serves me, a 6-inch line will handle about 2.25 times the amount of water as 1 4-inch. And then I got, what do I got? 6 more joints of pipe or something to put in. I'm well past the barn now, but I want to get this all wrapped up here and start making some fill on the back side of the barn because rain is coming tomorrow. We need it badly. It's very dry. And as I said, very smoky. I think I got enough of everything. I don't know. I may need a few more sticks of pipe. We'll see. Oh, and by the way, just to, this is good information right here that I'm about to share with you. Very good information. If you are doing any project, man, you got to shop around on pricing. That is for sure. I looked at Lowe's. I wasn't planning on getting it there, but I looked at Lowe's just on the Schedule 40 pipe. This is foam core Schedule 40. One guy said that's a recipe for disaster, putting that in. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. You could use SDR 35. I like the Schedule 40 4-inch just because a lot of this is going to be under a road, and I got plenty of cover. I got good bedding, but Schedule 40 4-inch foam core. So this pipe is not made for pressure, which I'm not going to have pressure for a downspout drain. At Lowe's, I will check these numbers on the receipts in a little bit, but at Lowe's, it's like $28.90 or something for a 10-foot stick. Where I bought it from, like a pipe supply company, I think it's $1.97 a foot, 20-foot sticks. So $1.97 versus what? Almost $2.90 a foot from Lowe's. So you're looking at all this pipe. If I were to buy it at Lowe's, see, say 100, 200. I mean, it's a $200 savings by going to a pipe supply company. That is crazy. I'll check those receipts though. I got it in the truck, and I know when I checked Lowe's, it was $28.90 some cents for a 10-foot stick. I'd say I'm just about there. Plumber Jim was going to. He called me yesterday. He wanted to come out this weekend and help. Not help. He would do it. He's so much faster at this than I am. I can do the digging, but just putting in that pipe, he's like. It's kind of pretty cool to watch him do that. He's super fast. So he's faster and better, but I didn't want to bother him. He does this all week long. I didn't think he'd want to come out on a weekend and do more, but he said he lives for putting in pipe, which I believe it. All right, let's throw a stick or two in the ground. All right, I got neighbor Derek here. We're in the middle of something here. Tell him what happened, Derek.
We had an issue with water getting into the bell housing. Little tough to pinpoint exactly how it got in, but I think we have a pretty good idea.
So it wouldn't start.
Right.
And turns out we saw some rust bleeding out of the bottom of the starter.
Yeah, which I don't know if you can see it on there.
Yeah, it's really hard to see in here.
You know, if you can see where the rust is kind of running down along the bell housing there.
So basically we think some water got in up here.
Yep.
Comes right down in here, laid in there, and got into the starter. Got the starter rebuilt, and we're going to put it in. This was the first Easton-made Evo diesel. It's got the Deutz. I love this engine. I love the processor. But it's just one of them little things, the way the water runs and all that. But you're gonna put some little bit of grease on there, and then I'll put a little shroud over top of it.
Yeah, I already put a little bit. I cleaned up where the nose cone seats in the bell housing, and then if you're ever looking for anything that's kind of does everything, Lubriplate 105, relatively inexpensive. You can use it for everything.
Okay.
Internal engine parts, whatnot. I mean, if you're a mechanic or you're doing assembly work, O-rings, anything, I mean, this stuff is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I put that on. We'll put that on the face of the starter, and more or less that's just like a rust kind of preventative is what I'm just currently using it for, more so than a lubrication. So, but you can see plain as day where whenever we pulled the starter out initially, how bad it was.
Yeah, there was water in the starter.
Oh yeah, we tipped it up on the nose cone, and it left a dollar, like a gold dollar size puddle of rusty water. Which starters are pretty resilient. They can deal with moisture, but something like that, I mean, it had to be full of water.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to have water laying in it for an extended length of time, really. And then whenever I was kind of troubleshooting it, just seeing what was going on, which this is a little tough to do just because you have to be over at the control panel, to initiate the crank. And then you have to come back over to the engine area to. Yeah. So when I got back, we tried it, and that's when you said you think it's the starter. And everything was pointing to it being the starter. And it was just like, well, let's just go ahead and pull it out, which it wasn't terrible. It's a little tight in there, but it's not terrible. I've dealt with far worse than that.
That looks terrible to me getting in there.
With the right extensions.
You had to take that one vacuum line off, right?
Yeah, that's your turbo drain line.
Drain line.
Basically, it just goes in the side of the block, and that's where the oil drains back to the block for the engine. But yeah, it's we're just basically going back together with it now, you know. So hopefully we can put maybe a little shroud or something maybe over that spot. You know, hopefully maybe you know what I need to do is next time it's raining, just come down here and see where just kind of see where it's kind of coming and going to. Yeah. But yeah, like I said though, that was it's not uncommon for a new platform, you know, to have little issues like this that you're not going to know until it's out in the field being used for how long you had it, a little over a year. Yeah. So I mean that's called field testing. Part of it. You know, that's research and development after production. Yeah. You know, so and we're lucky we have a great starter shop nearby. Oh yeah. Richard Hine up in Butler, if anybody's needing any starters, alternators, batteries. He does a great job and stands behind his work, and I would confidently say that whenever he rebuilds something, you're getting better, equivalent or better than OEM. Yeah. And far better than what you're going to buy on Amazon, I hate to say. Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah. You know, not necessarily Amazon, just, you know, the aftermarket, you know, stuff. Right. Because a lot of times whenever you buy what they consider remanufactured, that doesn't always mean that it has been rebuilt. That just means that it has been fixed and tested. So like whatever, could have been one little part. It could be one little part. You could have a starter that's just absolutely worn out, but you know, maybe it just has a bad solenoid. I'm not saying every company does that, but it'll be running when you get it and it's painted. And that's what it is. But it could be 5 years old. It could have, you know, old bearings in it, and you know, like I said, it's not that every company does that, but unfortunately in the parts industry, that's not uncommon. Yeah. You know, but whenever you get something back from him, he has completely disassembled it. It's, you know, if you're paying him for if you're paying for a rebuild, you're getting OEM, you know, American bearings, you're getting, you know, the best components that he can put in is typically what you're going to get. Right. You know, which that's kind of hard to get anymore. Yeah. You know, it's old school shop. I believe it's been in his family for quite a while, and I think they're working on World War II tanks up there. Yeah, they were probably back whenever probably the first. They probably made the Bantam Jeep starter. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the great people to deal with. You know, they supply. Whenever I was in the steel plants and pretty much anywhere I've ever been, I've always used him for starters, alternators, generators. You know, golf cart generators. Just he does a very good job. He's very thorough, and you know, I've been using him since I was a little kid. You know, needing parts for stuff. But, yeah. All right, we'll jam that thing in there. Boy, that's kind of tight. Yeah, we'll get her in there. Yep, we'll get her stuffed in there. There she is. This on that nose cone. Oh no, Derek, I was going to give him a shot of you putting that in, but between... You can't see past me, bro. Your arms and... You probably can't see past me. No. Like a... I can kind of reach from here, if I can hold it. No, it's really not bad once you get it kind of spun in there, you know. It's really not terrible. You know, basically it just goes in and... Power wire goes on there. We just we'll clean this up, and once we get the starter all situated back in there, you know, we get to a point where it's like, okay, now we can kind of relax. You know, all the finish up work, that's not really a big deal. Right. You know, you just... What's that plug for? Which one? The one hanging in front. This is your signal. Okay, that goes to... Yeah, that is... Because that's like a little solenoid right there, right? A signal solenoid, is that what you call that? Yes, yeah. Basically, it's just so that you can run like a low current through that one, and then the big one on the starter itself is higher current. Right. You know, so that just basically... That's the ticket right there. What do you even call that? Do you know what they call it? I think they call it the tight reach. Tight reach. Yeah, and what's nice is they have these, I don't know if you can see through their pass-through sockets.
Yeah, yep.
You know, so even if you need to, you can roll it around.
Yeah.
And then they're interchangeable.
Right.
You know, so you got which you do have to use their sockets, but you can still put a regular adapter on.
Right.
You know, and then it's just really handy, you know, and then this is the, you know, the extended reach, right. You know, but I think, or the Insider, that's it. Yeah, it's called the Insider.
Okay.
You know,
yeah,
but,
that's nice.
Oh man, are they handy to have. I didn't buy one for the longest time, and I use it every day now that I have
yeah.
it.
How about that? Do you know what I noticed before?
What's that?
I was just about to tell Derek, what I noticed before it quit working, there are a few times that it felt like the battery was weak. It wasn't the battery, it was the starter taking too much.
Yeah, it was basically the, probably either the contact points in the solenoid on the starter had finally, you know, or with all the water intrusion, the way that those starters work is there's like plates, and then there's insulators between the plates on the armature for it. And what'll happen is that starts to short out.
Yeah.
You know, so as those plates, because that's what...
It was taking more and more juice to get it to do anything.
Exactly. So like that time that you had to jump it,
yeah,
it was probably on its last leg.
Yeah.
And then it just took that little bit of extra voltage to get it to crank that time.
Yeah, and then that was it.
And then it was just, that was it. You know, so...
Oh, I fired right up. Boom.
Because, oh yeah, like I said, he's, you know, I've pulled aftermarket starters off that people have put on, and they just didn't sound good. You know, they just, the motors are underpowered, and, you know, there's some components in these starters that, you know, can make it better or worse.
Right.
You know, and like this starter, you know, you need something to crank, you know, it's not just an engine, you know, now you're turning pumps and, you know, that's what people don't realize is like the starter in your car and the battery and everything, you're not starting a lot, you know, you're right. Just, there's a torque converter is really the only pump you could say.
Yeah.
And whenever you're in neutral, it really doesn't have any drag on it.
Yeah, when you turn this over, it's turning that.
You're turning everything. Yeah. You know, those pumps are connected directly to the engine. There's no clutch
engaging it or anything. Yeah.
Right. You know, so that's like, you know, forklifts and heavy equipment, you know, so now you're not just cranking, you know, an engine over, you're cranking an engine and a pump and, you know, some of these big, you know, these big pieces of equipment, not necessarily on this, they have a flywheel that could be 8 or 10 times heavier than an automotive one. Right. And that's hard. I mean, that's hard on a starter. But it fired right up and sounded good. I mean, that's what what you're looking for.
Well, good deal, man. Thanks, Derek.
Yep.
Where do you see this? So I ran over to the rec center for a little bit, came back over here, and there were 2 fawns and a doe right beside the excavator, kind of inspecting my work. But it's been a pretty good day. I got all of the drains in. I got them all well away from the building, out of the way. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain. I think it's like 90 or 100% chance of rain, which is good. We need it. Got the firewood processor back up and running. It's great having a neighbor like Derek, and also, like he said, that Heinz starter. We have so many good local businesses that have been around forever that just make it a joy when you need something. You know what I mean? It's not a big headache. So I got that taken care of, but I'll show you what's next. Well, what's next is I got to clean this up here. Looks like a bomb went off here. There's a deer right over in there. They're around me all the time out here. But I want to get all these trenches backfilled. This whole area in here needs about 6 inches of fill right here, about a foot out here. It'll all slope away from the barn, but I want to have a nice road that comes around here. And the same over here, where the dump truck's sitting, I need probably 6 inches of fill there, foot down in here. So that'll be next. Oh, I almost forgot. I told you I was going to check this slip. I bought that pipe from Cox Piping Supply. They have several locations. $1.97 per foot. Lowe's, $2.87 per foot. Unbelievable. So that's a difference of 90 cents a foot. I saved easily $200. That's just the pipe. That's not all the fittings and all that. But yeah, I think the way Lowe's and Home Depot, they're just after, you're doing a little project, it's convenient, they're open late, and if you're gonna get, a new washing machine and then you're gonna come back and maybe get some pipe for something else, I don't know, but that's a huge difference. So when you're buying stuff like that, do some price shopping around for sure. I think that's about it. It's still hazy, smoky. People are wearing masks again for this. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how bad it is, but all I do know is every third time I go out west, it's just like this, So I don't know. Tomorrow, I think the weather's going to change, get some rain. That's the other thing. Not only is it smoky, it's dry and dusty as well. I think that's about it for today's video. Don't forget, sign up for our newsletter. Just go to outdoorswiththemorgans.com. There'll be a pop-up that comes up. Enter your email. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. I think that's it. Catch you on the next one.